Government has made it very clear to the people of Pakistan and the authorities in Pakistan that blood and water cannot flow together. If we develop this Nukoba project, I'm sure that there will be 40 to 50% of the traffic of the China that will pass through. And in the world's 30% of the traffic, maritime traffic passes through this very particular Strait of Malacca. Good morning. We know that there are many threats that India faces from inside as well as outside its borders. Well, very recently there was a former diplomat who threatened India that in case India continued its policy of blocking water, Indus water to Pakistan, China will be left with no option but to stop Brahmaputra from flowing into India. Well, the question is that is it going to be practically possible, and is it really something that will happen like that? Well, I believe that there are many myths that need to be cleared. And I'm sure that after listening to this, you'll come to know whether there is any serious threat existing to India or not. Now, see, first we have to understand that as far as this Brahmaputra is concerned, you know that it originates from Tibet and then it flows to the east Tibetan plateau and then enters into Arunachal Pradesh, where it becomes Brahmaputra, and then comes to Assam. From there it flows to Bangladesh and then ultimately ends up in Bay of Bengal. This is how the Brahmaputra is flowing into this side of the world. Now the question is, can China really execute its threat, and is it possible practically for China to do something of this kind? Well, I will say, realistically speaking, it is not possible. They can control the flow of the water. They can influence the flow of the water, but they cannot altogether stop the flow of water into this region because there is a reason for that. See, when it comes to blocking the water, they will have to build the dams. They are already building. There's a Brahmaputra dam being built. But then you have to remember that as far as Brahmaputra is concerned, there is natural monsoon which is also helping to fill up. And every now and then there is a rainfall happening there in the northeastern region, because of which the Brahmaputra flow you can control. But as I said, that you cannot completely switch off the water supply to India. And even if we presume that China does it, then there are going to be ecological, environmental concerns that it will have to meet at its own peril. And now, when it comes to doing something of this kind, the first question that needs to be asked is why should it do and why will it do? And as far as India is concerned, we are doing it with Pakistan, not because we are doing it out of any convenience or we are doing it out of our choice of free will. We are doing it out of the compulsion, because Pakistan has been told repeatedly to stop cross-border terrorism. Government has made it very clear to the people of Pakistan and the authorities in Pakistan that blood and water cannot flow together. And after the Pahalgam attack, Government of India thought that enough was enough. Now something was to be done so that Pakistanis would learn the lesson hard way. And it was decided that Indus Water Treaty would be put on hold, and that has been put on hold. It is in abeyance since then. Now the question is that why should China do it? Because we do not have any territorial dispute as of now with that country. We have not any tourism-related issues also. There has been no aggression on the part of India. And China has also not seen any aggression towards India. So there is no mutual animosity. And then if there is nothing like that, then why should China go on doing this kind of the act? Simply because you think that it's going to please Pakistan, or it is going to be music to the ears of the Pakistan, that China will one day come up and say that we are going to stop the Brahmaputra from flowing into this side of the border or into India. That simply does not do. This is not what the diplomacy does, and this is not what the diplomacy actually teaches. So what I understand about this whole saga is that China will never do it. You have to understand it, that even if China does it, then there are other ways by which India can also reply. We are making India competent enough to reply China in its own language. You know that very recently there was a big hullabaloo, there was a big hue and cry about the development of the Great Nicobar project. Now, nobody understands that why government of India was forced to go on taking up this very particular project when we know that there are ecological concerns and there is also going to be a threat, a little bit of threat to the environment. But even then, if the government has decided to go ahead with this very particular project, there must be some reason for that. See, as there Iran holds Strait of Hormuz, it wants to hold control on the Strait of Hormuz because it is supposed to be the large way of traffic for the ships to go and pass. India also has its own Strait of Malacca, which is there near the Nicobar project. If we develop this Nicobar project, I'm sure that there will be 40 to 50% of the traffic of the China that will pass through. And in the world's 30% of the traffic, maritime traffic passes through this very particular Strait of Malacca. And it is for this very reason that India actually got closer to Indonesia, Japan, these eastern rich countries, because we want to have our own passage. It is supposed to be a very small passage, but then it is enough to choke the world traffic as far as maritime traffic is concerned. So I believe that as far as India is concerned, it must not be unnecessarily concerned. And even if China does anything, and it is audacious enough to try to come to to harm India, then government of India is in a position to reply. And you know that it is not what India used to be. We are the India of 2026 here. We know how to reply. We know how to respond, and we know how to hold our own ground. So forget about China, any country for that matter of fact in the whole world. Even if USA wants to do any harm to India, it will surely not do that, and it cannot do that because, as I said, that it is a different India that we will have, the world will have to reconcile to. We are having very good relations with maximum countries. We are developing our maritime security. We are developing our own border security. We are strengthening the internal defense mechanism. Our own naval force is actually being modernized. Our air force is already there on the cusp of modernization. Then we have also the ground army. So everything is there that can actually challenge any hegemonic design of any country for that matter of fact. So even if China wants to do something about this very particular country or wants to do something about Brahmaputra, it cannot do. So don't just give much credence to the statement given by that former diplomat there in China, where it said that in case India persists with the policy of blocking the water, Indus water towards Pakistan, then we have the one option, that is to stop the flow of water into the Brahmaputra, which passes through Assam and all that. That cannot easily be done. As I said, that it is not that India will run short of water or that it will dry up the Brahmaputra. As I said, that there it's a particular, the Brahmaputra flows into the area where the normal monsoon rain happens. And okay, the volume of the water can be brought down, but the fact is that you cannot completely wipe out and switch off the water. That kind of the possibility does not arise. So I don't see any possibility of India suffering because of this kind of the policy. But when it comes to the Pakistan, there is every possibility that they may have to bend on their knees because 80% of the agricultural activity depends upon this. And one thing good about the country like India is that here we are supposed to be there in the upstream country, and as far as Pakistan is concerned, it is the downstream country. And we have not had any kind of the treaty with China when it comes to Brahmaputra and all that, but we had the treaty with Pakistan. And if today Pakistan has been asked to stop terrorism, and I don't think that it's a big demand. I believe that India is never going to listen to the demand of the Pakistan to release the water unless it takes verifiable, concrete and credible steps vis-a-vis terrorism and all that. If it does not dismantle the infrastructure of the terrorism, if it does not hand over most wanted terrorists to India, how is it possible for India to think of releasing water? Because the only condition that India has put forth is that you stop terrorism and we are here to do friendship with you. And in order to give the impression that yes, of course, you want to stop terrorism and that you are interested in having very good relationship with India, you will have to take some credible steps. And one of the steps is to destroy completely the infrastructure that has been built over the years for terrorism, and those terrorists who are being used against India and being allowed to operate from the soil of Pakistan, they should be handed over to Pakistan, particularly to India, particularly those who are most wanted here in India. And if this kind of action is being taken, I am sure that there will be some very good movement forward as far as the relationship, normalizing relationship between India and Pakistan is concerned. So I don't think that China will ever cause any problems because we have our own concerns. We do not want to stop water because we want to stop water. We have been forced, our hands have been forced. Pakistan is not taking any concrete action. Whenever we want to develop very good friendly relations, and it has been seen there in the past, whenever we wanted to develop good relations with Pakistan, it always caused problems. The next day, it went and came up with something obnoxious. When Atal Bihari Vajpayee went, then we got Kargil. And when Narendra Modi also went there, then we got Pulwama, and then Uri, then we have Pahalgam. So every now and then, whenever we want to normalize relationship with Pakistan, then there are the elements who operate and create problems, and the kind of terrorism they sponsor. It is very, very inhumane and is very dangerous. This time around, India has made it very clear to the Pakistan that blood and water cannot flow together, dialogues cannot be held. You have to stop actions of terrorism. You have to take action against terrorism. And if you do so, the next day we will be releasing the water. Otherwise, never ever be under this impression that we are going to kowtow. Whosoever is going to be there in the world, whatever court of the world tribunal is going to come up with the award or all that decree, we are not going to listen to anyone, because this time it is the question of our sovereignty. This time it is the question of the people of India and of Zenab. You have killed many, many innocent people here in India by operating from your own soil. But now we are not going to take it lying down. If you really want to normalize the relationship with India, then the best way is to just destroy this terrorism infrastructure and then see how we are going to normalize the relationship. And it is going to be there in the interests of Pakistan. In fact, sometimes I wonder, India has nothing at stake. If we do not have any kind of relationship with Pakistan, we will not be losing anything big. But as far as Pakistan is concerned, it surely can get maximum advantage out of the relationship with India. So it is better for India, Pakistan to understand, read the writing on the wall, and ensure that it's going to completely dismantle the infrastructure related to terrorism and hand over the most wanted terrorists to India, so that the relations can be normalized. And this is what China would also like to see. But don't be under this impression that China would like to do anything that's going to harm India, that's going to harm our relationship with Pakistan and China, because China knows it very well that if it has to be there as a superpower, then it cannot go on messing up with India, and particularly with its neighbors. So it is better for Pakistan to understand the language of peace, make sure that there is going to be absolute normalization, and that normalization will happen only when you will be taking credible actions against terrorism. And once you do it, you will see the response of India coming positively your way.